Dean was sentenced to 11 years, 10 months, and 12 days for shooting and killing Atatiana Jefferson in her mother's Fort Worth home. Hello and good evening, everyone. I'm Steve Eager. It's 9 o'clock. Dean will need to serve half of that time before he's eligible for parole. He showed little emotion as the verdict was read in court this afternoon, but the emotion overflowed from members of Jefferson's family giving statements immediately after it was read. Fox 4's Macy Jenkins begins our coverage. She's live tonight in Fort Worth. Macy.
Hi, Steve. Well, the jury has been here in Fort Worth, downtown Fort Worth, in a courtroom for 2.5 weeks, listening to testimony, deliberating. They spent 12 hours making this decision over the course of 2 days, yesterday and today. And now, 3 years after Atatiana Jefferson's death, her family finally has some sense of resolution.
Verdict reads, we the jury, having found the defendant Aaron York Dean guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of the offense of manslaughter, assess his punishment and confinement in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for 11 years, 10 months, 12 days.
Aaron Dean showing no emotion as he was sentenced to nearly 12 years behind bars for the shooting death of Atatiana Jefferson in 2019.
She was shine in the darkest situations.
Jefferson's cousin, Cerise Fortson, and her sister, Ashley Carr, have final words for Dean just moments after the verdict.
That you saw fit to take her from this undeserving world, thinking her life would leave with her. That's what you thought. But I want you to go to your cell knowing that her life is only transferred.
Afterwards, Dean's sister was seen speaking with Dean's attorneys while his parents stood silently behind her. The family left the courtroom together, making no comments to reporters. James Smith, the neighbor who called the non-emergency number to report the open doors at Jefferson's mother's home and a witness in the trial, spoke briefly.
I'm still processing it, but the max is what I was looking for, but we're satisfied with the verdict.
Prosecutors Ashley Diener and Dale Smith reflected on trying their first case involving a police shooting.
It was not our intent to put Fort Worth Police Department on trial. We put this defendant on trial.
And while both say they would have preferred a murder conviction, they're satisfied with the roughly 12 hours over the course of 2 days the jury spent on deliberations.
They made a thoughtful decision, and that is the cornerstone of the American justice system. And so we really appreciate all the hard work they did.
Dean must serve at least half of his sentence before he is eligible for parole. And because the jury sentenced him to more than 10 years, he will not be able to get out of prison if he chooses to appeal the conviction.
Am I relieved that this is over for the family? I am happy that they are happy and they're relieved.
Defense attorneys Bob Gill and Miles Brissett did not address reporters after the sentencing. Jurors finally free to go Tuesday afternoon with bags in hand after being sequestered Monday night for a second time during the trial. The symbolism of their sentence not lost on both the prosecution and Jefferson's family and supporters.
Haven't quite figured it out yet, but I think they did that on purpose.
11 years for the current age of Jefferson's nephew, Zion Carr, 10 months and 12 days, representing October 12th, the date Jefferson was killed. Her family, supporters, and community activists determined to keep her spirit alive.
So what I'm saying is, Aaron Dean, you ain't stopped nothing. You ain't stopped nothing.
He's your prisoner, Sheriff.
Now, Dean will receive credit for time served from the time of his arrest up until now. He does have the right to appeal, but he must do that within 30 days. But again, he will be behind bars. He'll have to remain behind bars during that entire process. I will add that we reached out to the Fort Worth Police Officers Association for a statement. We did not hear back from them.
Spoke publicly for the first time since a gag order was placed 3 years ago for anyone connected to the trial. She said the jury delivered a clear message with its verdict today. She was joined by family, community leaders, and activists. Fox 4's Peyton Yeager continues our coverage. Peyton.
Stephen, the Jefferson family has been under a gag order this entire time, now speaking publicly for the first time, saying this has been a long fight. Atatiana Jefferson's sister says she hoped for a murder charge, but the nearly 12-year sentence offers some relief.
Would we want more time? Yes. Yes, we would. But that's what the jury decided, and we're going to have to take that with us.
Tuesday afternoon, Ashley Carr stood outside the home where her younger sister, Atatiana Jefferson, was shot and killed 3 years ago.
But this has been hard, guys. These 3 years have been hard.
The Jefferson family was joined by their attorney, Lee Merritt, just a few hours after Aaron Dean was sentenced to prison.
It was a relief. It wasn't exactly the justice that we all thought Atatiana deserved, but it certainly represented a historic moment in the city of Fort Worth and for Tarrant County.
After a day and a half of deliberation, a Tarrant County jury ordered the former Fort Worth police officer to spend 11 years, 10 months, and 12 days in prison. The same jury found Dean guilty of manslaughter for the death of Atatiana Jefferson on October 12, 2019. Jefferson's family says these numbers are significant.
11 years, that's the same age as Zion. 10 months, 12 days. That's the day that it happened. It's a message in this. It might not be the message that we wanted in the whole dream, but it's some of it.
The night Jefferson was fatally shot through the window, she was babysitting her nephew named Zion, who was 8 at the time. Back in 2019, Dean was responding to an open structure call at Jefferson's mother's house after her neighbor, James Smith, noticed the front door was open. For the past 3 years, Colin Packer from the Churches of Christ has made it his mission to comfort young Zion and the Jefferson family.
March, the group that we're representing, has had a presence in the courtroom each day of this trial.
Fort Worth City Council member Chris Nettles says he will continue to push for change on the city level.
We haven't got exactly what we want, but we got something. And here in the black community, we're tired of just getting the short end of the stick.
Speaking on behalf of the entire family, Carr says this trial has been a struggle, but gives thanks to the community for their strength.
Are we happy? We knew it was murder. So anything other than that, it's part of a relief. But is it over? No. Is this fight over?
The Jefferson family and their attorney say they will continue to move forward in the federal civil rights lawsuit that they filed last year. Also, they plan to continue their nonprofit they started called the Atatiana Project.